This is the sitting room of our farmhouse. Here we have worked for many days, spread over years, on the concept of the Workstead. The four of us: Gijsbert, Albert, Roel and I. What is the Workstead? Before explaining it, I'll take a short run-up to summarize what I've been telling about complexity in the 13 episodes until now. It starts in our garden in the beginning of October. I'm convinced that we only can survive as human beings on this planet Earth when we have 1. A deep understanding of complexity, and 2. We fully respect it. To this end, the following lessons have been learned. In complex processes, forces are active that work against each other and need each other. If we allow complexity, we discover emerging patterns. Complex is the counterpart of complicated. We find complexity in the area between order and chaos. Complexity allows us to adapt. In complex processes, all aspects come into play. There are many uncertainties. We also know that we can only reach a new attractor through a valley. In complex social networks with little system trust, people hardly respond to information, but they do on peripheral stimuli. For dealing with complexity, it's important to consciously include and exclude processes. For the development and realization of ideas, a rich palette is available for politicians and administrators. The exchange of tacit knowledge is crucial to arrive at practical wisdom in complex processes. And by telling stories, we are able to transfer tacit knowledge. And that was just a selection. And now the Workstead. For its development, we applied the following line of reasoning. Based on all our knowledge about complexity, we would like to develop practical wisdom for niches at complex issues. For that, we need to bring tacit knowledge fully into play. That was our initial hypothesis. You can transfer tacit knowledge by telling stories, so the method has to be a narrative one. Based on this, we determined the contours of the Workstead. We then started to test our ideas in practice, supported by the Living with Water program and STOA, among others. We have gone through this cycle many times. In that, we approached complex issues as wicked problems. We can distinguish between a tamed problem and a wicked problem. These differ in terms of dynamics. With a tamed problem, you work in a structured way from problem to solution. The pattern is what we call the waterfall, where we go through 4 stages: gathering data, analyzing data, formulating the solution, and implementing the solution. The process is linear. How different it is with wicked problems. You dance up and down between problem and solution. For a wicked problem, we say that you only start to really understand the problem when you're already implementing the solution. In a Workstead, we do not go through the entire process from problem to solution, but through a limited number of steps. There's a process that precedes the workshop, and you're not finished afterwards. A Workstead starts with a formal assignment and ends with a so-called speech act. The result is what we call a working principle. The organization is different. In a traditional process aimed at a tamed problem, you often have a coordination group, a steering group, an external group, and a few working groups. In a Workstead, we invite people from different spheres. Together, they work on the assignment. What is a sphere? We have defined a sphere as a group of people. They exchange stories among themselves and thus bring tacit knowledge into play. You also have other spheres. People in those spheres also tell each other stories. However, between the spheres only formal information is transferred. As a result, spheres become alienated from each other. We have found that bringing people from different spheres together is very effective. A Workstead is usually made up of 4 sessions with approximately 3 weeks in between. These sessions are on location, not somewhere in an office room. A walk or a bike ride through the area is an integral part of the workshop. We call that the schouw. There are many differences between a traditional process and a Workstead. Here we see a few of them in a row. The most striking difference is this. In a traditional process, we try to involve as many organizations as possible in order to consider as many processes as possible in a large area in an integral way. At the Workstead, we make an issue small, local and concrete, and for many people that's a shock. But that's precisely the beauty of complexity. In it we can observe the so-called holographic aspect. The hologram serves as an analogy. It's a 3-dimensional image of an object. This is created by shining laser light through a specially processed glass plate. If you smash the glass plate, you will see an image of the whole in every shard. And this is also the case with the complex issue. The whole is reflected in the small, local and concrete issue. We say the following. If you are not able to solve the problem at the scale of one shard, why should you be able to solve the problem of the whole? Hence, small, local and concrete. In the meantime, we have already gone through quite a few Worksteads, focusing on various questions. Many topics have been discussed. Actually, we have only one requirement on the issue to be approached. It must be complex, and it soon becomes. Well, this was a short introduction of the Workstead. If you would like to know more, please visit my website. You will find many examples there. This was episode 14. The next episode is presumably about the collapse of complex societies. I hope to see you again. Until then, hoi!